Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. Today was a very special day. It was the protest march in London, and I went down, and it was absolutely amazing. I don't know how many people were there, but it was tens of thousands. The whole of Trafalgar Square and beyond um, was just crowds of people everywhere, all peaceful, all in good spirits, all on their best behavior. Some wonderful speeches from all the guest speakers, massive screens, properly organized, excellent sound quality. It was absolutely superb. I got a little bit delayed on the way down because they'd actually met at the Royal Court of Justice and then marched to Trafalgar Square. And as I got delayed, then I went straight to Charing Cross and joined them just for the last section as they walked to Trafalgar Square. I did manage to put some footage together, so here's what I actually did put together today while I was there, and it was actually wonderful. The trains down, I have never seen so many people on the trains, at Euston, on the underground, everywhere. You literally just could not move for people. It was absolutely incredible. It was so busy, but then having said that, the schools only just recently broke up, didn't they? So these are the busiest few weeks of the year, especially in London, with not just people from the UK having days out, but also London is a massive tourist destination, and there are tourists everywhere, and it was absolutely incredible. Um, to be honest, it was quite interesting. I was watching what was going out on the news while I was there. Um, the, it, I've been to quite a few different protests in London and monitored what's been said on the news while I was there, and you would be amazed how often uh, the events are being misreported. For example, I was down on St George's Day, and I know for a fact that there was absolutely no trouble whatsoever. But I actually saw the police primed with a reporter ready to capture the moment as they literally stormed the pub to provoke a reaction. But today, the police were excellent. There was a lot of them, a large police presence, but they literally just stood back. There was one or two counter protests in the distance. As I took a walk to get a coffee, I could hear them, but the police kept them well away. There was report of the area around the cenotaph being closed because there was trouble. If there was any trouble, it was nothing to do with our protest at all, because the protest today, as I said, gathered at the Royal Courts of Justice and made its way to Charing Cross and came into Trafalgar Square that way. And the cenotaph is at the bottom end of Trafalgar Square, and it's a few hundred yards down Whitehall. So the actual protest, the march today, didn't even pass there. But as always, the media, if they can't say anything, then they'll imply it by just simply being vague, so people who want to can draw their own conclusions. Um, it was actually really exciting because there was maybe 8, 9 different people who recognized me out of all those thousands who were there, which was quite lovely to meet people, both from YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, who recognized me, and that was absolutely great to meet them in person and say hello. Obviously, the usual crowd was there. Tommy was there. Um, um, Maya Tuzi was there as well, and a few other guest speakers. Lawrence Fox obviously was there; he spoke as well. It was so exciting. I really, really wanted to just get up on that stage and speak. And what was amazing was at one point, Tommy asked the crowd who voted reform, and just about every single hand in that crowd went up. Do you know, the more I'm asking around about who voted reform, the more I'm wondering, did we really only get 4 million votes? Are we sure we didn't get more? Because something just doesn't add up. But who knows? Maybe, maybe not. It's done now, isn't it? What can you say? That's just how it is. So, for the time being, it's great to see that there is so much support. This is the largest protest of its type that I've seen. That is peaceful. That is people demonstrating the love of their country, their flag, their culture, and their determination to stop what is happening, as we all know. Um, I made a couple of posts and put them up both here and on TikTok and wherever. Um, it's quite interesting some of the comments I saw. The same type of comments. Uh, get it back from where? Where's it gone? Uh, to be honest, I don't bother replying anymore. Some in the past, once or twice, I have taken the time to reply, but it's actually pointless because, as the saying goes, you're literally feeding the monster because we know exactly what type of person is making stupid comments like that. We know what they're after, and why waste my time? So I just don't bother. I just ignore them, and they can go off and they can join their friends at Sky News, BBC, Channel 4, and the rest of the woke brigade. But I have to say, it was a wonderful experience today. Um, and it was brilliant. Oh, and we have a comment. Good evening, Julie. Yes, it was there. It was a brilliant day. The weather was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. Um, all of the preparation was amazing. You could see and hear what was going on stage from anywhere. And the one thing that lets these sorts of things down wherever I've been is the sound quality. There is nothing worse than poor quality sound that's just amplified and it's just this painful noise. It was very, very good quality. And wherever you were, you could understand every word that was being said. And everyone who spoke superbly. We were actually treated to one of Tommy Robinson's documentaries about an incident or two that he had brought to light and reported on. It was great that people were made aware of these types of things that are happening and how mainstream media literally fans the flames against the very people who they should be defending, precipitating the problem. And they do it in such a way that they are covered, but they have effectively also had their fingers on the dagger, but without leaving their fingerprints. It's a dreadful situation that we have got to with our mainstream media because the vast majority of the world's media is owned by just a handful of people and they can control everything. And if we are going to change things, we need to address the media first. One way or another, something needs to be done about it because the media are the greatest voices of deceit globally. The media is worse than the politicians because at least we have effectively a token gesture uh, vote to select or deselect politicians, but we can't seem to do anything about the media. There are people who are the old favourites, both on Sky, on BBC, on horrendous salaries. On Sky, they can pay them what they like, but on BBC, as we know, when the figures were released in this last week, these ridiculous salaries that they are being paid from money that they extort from us so that they can lie to us. If any of you have any feeling of patriotism for our country, the first thing that you should do is literally to tell the BBC to go whistle for their license fee, one way or another, because these people have been extorting money, demanding money with menaces from people for far too long, and it needs to stop. And as you may be aware, what was the first thing that Keir Starmer did when he got into power? Was to actually go and pander to the BBC, because if you've been watching how the BBC reporters and Sky and Channel 4, of course, but the other two, well, Sky is, Channel 4 does have some government involvement, but BBC effectively has never ever spoken to politicians from the other parties in the manner in which they speak to Keir Starmer or his cronies. Why on earth the media are so intent on pandering to these people who are destroying our society? But there again, the people funding this media, the media, are the figures behind it who are making it all happen. I came over from southern Spain to support our brothers and sisters. No trouble. The energy was amazing. Can't believe how many police were around in the vans. Some said it was around 1,000. All the roads were blocked off. Yes, they were absolutely everywhere. But I was worried. I was worried in case they were going to provoke something. But no, they did. They did stand back, and they kept everybody else away. They did do their job properly today, I have to say. And that is fantastic. I'm sure that the mayor of London was absolutely delighted that he's abroad and wasn't here to actually take measures to either aggravate things or cause us any problems. But he'll probably try that in the future. It's fair to say that the number of people who are beginning to raise their voices in objection to what is happening is increasing exponentially. And it is now time that everybody who is of this mindset should be singing from the same hymn sheet. Uh, we don't have the time, the resources, or the backing to be divided. We must all be fighting for our sovereignty, for our nation state, to control our borders, and to rid our country of the vast number of criminals who have literally invaded us and are taking advantage of us, on top of the large number of people who are here and have literally become the cancer within. And you know who they are. I don't need to tell you. The media is all bought and paid for. I'm afraid that is absolutely true. And as I said, the vast majority of the media is owned by just a handful of people or companies, and they control everything. But nobody, uh, nobody is absolutely beyond reproach. There is nobody out there, I don't care who they are, there is nobody out there that the people cannot conquer. We have had the same we will control the world mindset for centuries, for millennia, and they always fail, because in the end, the people reach a point where they say no more. And I believe we are rapidly approaching that point. Today was a positive day. Today was a day where people who love this country, who love our flag, who love everything about our culture, were celebrating our culture, and they were there to say, this is who we are, this is our flag, this is our country. You will not dictate to us in our own home. We will not tolerate the invasion of our country against our will. So very, very, very positive today, and it was absolutely beautiful. Uh, Yeah, 2030. The problem is that this nonsense is all going to fail. We've got this moron, Ed Miliband, who literally thinks that he's going to decarbonize the world by 2030. Nothing of the sort. GB Energy is just going to be billions of pounds going down the drain. We are literally going to run up our energy costs by buying more and more from overseas. We're more dependent than ever on imported energy when we could be self sufficient and we have the energy beneath our feet. In the olden days, people used to have their emergency fund under the floorboards, and if a rainy day came or were to come, they would lift up the floorboard and take that money so that they could get themselves out of trouble. We have the equivalent beneath our feet, metaphorically, in gas and in oil, on land and beneath the North Sea. And we are literally being forced to pay more to import it from other countries who are doing the same as what we would be doing, and we're paying them for the privilege. It is complete and utter madness. These people are basically just trying to run the country into the ground. There can't be any other explanation, because they are either incompetent beyond belief, or they are treacherous beyond anything that we could possibly imagine, or both. Um, but the people will prevail, because the British public have been underestimated several times over the decades and centuries. And anybody who has underestimated the resolve of the British people has maybe lived to regret it. So we know how far we will be pushed before we fight back. And even though we have a large number of insidious people trying to destroy this country from within, they are effectively just a minority in the order of things. They're a handful, whether they're 2 or 3 million or 4 or 5 million. They are nothing compared to the rest. And the people today were demonstrating that they are close to fighting back. And when that does happen, suddenly our country will change for the better. And I have no doubt that the people will not put up with this for too much longer. Um, I don't know what the next step is going to be, or where we go from here. We'll just have to see. Obviously, it's going to be quite a while before we have another election, unless, of course, this government does fall apart sooner than people think. And that could happen. You never know. Um, Perhaps the pressure might even come from beyond our shores, from within Europe, because I believe that effectively at the moment the EU is held together with sticking plasters, and it is fractured, it is fragile, and it is literally surviving on the edge of a cliff, because most of the countries have had enough. Schengen has gone out the window. You've got the EU trying to pressure countries like Hungary and Poland, and they have dug their heels in, and quite rightly so. France, we've seen what happened there in the elections, and in his determination to keep Le Pen out, Macron went and effectively made a pact with the devil, because this left wing nutter who he made a pact with and effectively has given a platform into power, or indirect power, is a complete and utter nutter. So that's not going to go down too well at all. Marine Le Pen, uh, classed as being far right because she is sick of her country being invaded by barbarians and she wants them all out. But in terms of fiscal policy, she's not far right. She's not even right wing. she's probably not even in the center. If anything, she's slightly left of center because her policies are very, financial policies are very family supportive. And she would have been a very, very positive influence for France. But for the time being, she's been kept out because they would rather have a fanatical left wing madman than have somebody who is against their agenda to have the whole of Europe all of overrun by savages. The same applies to Meloni in Italy, who for some reason seemed to have uh, been softened her approach once she got into power, but she's reaching a point, or Italy's reaching a point, where either she will have to act against the immigrants or the people will take action against her. So that needs to be watched very, very carefully. And again, as I've said previously, you may have noticed that we're not hearing much from Germany. In fact, very, very little. The only reason that we heard about them having closed a mosque last week was because that provoked a reaction from Iran. It would do, wouldn't it? Because they're the nutters of the world, and Kuwait, the pint-sized pest, who literally throws money at funding extremism throughout Europe because that's what they do. Uh, Italy, again, we're not hearing a lot. And we're also not hearing a lot about what's happening in Greece. In fact, in Greece, they have reached a point where they are taking extreme action, but they are doing it secretly. But they're making sure that they take control of the vast numbers that are trying to force their way into their country. So, it, in many ways, all these European countries are beginning to pull up the drawbridge because if they don't, the leaders face a revolt from their own people. So this is getting worse, not just year on year or month on month, but day by day. And it is inevitable that this is literally a rope that will snap at some point. And when it snaps, the pressure will be immense and the fallout will be immense as well. So today, as I said, I was really, really proud to have been there. It was wonderful to see so many people peaceful with their flags, with their families, supporting our beautiful nation state. I really don't think that there's a lot more that I need to say about that. I was delighted that I made my way down. Um, it was incredible just how many people there were. I've never ever seen it so busy. Never, not as busy as it was today. And it was a beautiful, wonderful day, and I got some nice footage. Anyway, I think that will do for now. Thank you very, very much. As always, don't forget, if you would like to arrange to join me to discuss any topic that I cover or anything else in the news live, just WhatsApp me on this number and I'll get in touch and we can arrange a time and we can go live. As always, thank you very, very much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to take a little bit of a break now because I haven't stopped all week, and I will be back with you very, very soon. Bye bye for now.